Bonjour, and welcome to episode 3 of Tangentville with Mr. Truax. Today I'm going to be talking about all things French, or things that are supposedly French, like French bread, French beans, French braids, French cuffs, French doors, French dressing, French horn, French onion soup, French press, French toast, and to take French leave. Some of these things actually are French, like French bread. Absolutely. French beans. Absolutely. French braid, not so much. They call them une tresse africaine, which means an African tress. So neither a braid nor French, really. What about a French door? Well, they just call it a window door, une porte-fenêtre. French horn is called just a horn, le corps. French onion soup is definitely French. It's called soupe à l'oignon, and it is served in France. A French press is called une cafetière à piston. Now that is, if you've never seen a French press before, it's a coffee maker, and it's called une cafetière à piston. It's like a little beaker with a thing that you push down into it, and that makes your coffee. French toast is not terribly popular in France. It's called le pain perdu, which means lost bread. And it may have come from, in my theory anyway, the fact that French people saved their old baguettes and maybe they needed to reconstitute them, so they would dip them in eggs and milk and fry them in a pan. I don't know. I've also heard that it was named after a restaurant called French's Bread, but I have no idea about that. To take French leave, you may not have heard this much. We might call it an Irish goodbye. It means to leave without telling anybody. And in French, they call that filer à l'anglaise. So it means to go away like an Englishman. So this got me thinking, what things do the French people call American that may or may not really be American? So I asked some of my friends and found this little list of things that are called American. We'll start with le poing américain, which means the American fist. As you can see, those are brass knuckles. How about un frigo américain? Well, you can see that's a side-by-side refrigerator. Those are kind of new in France, and since they had started off in America, they call them un frigo américain. They're not as popular as this style of fridge. French houses and apartments tend to be a little smaller than American ones, and so to conserve space, they buy smaller fridges. They also tend to shop a little bit more frequently, and so they don't need as much space for fresh food. What about le billard américain? Well, here you have just pool or billiards. French billiards are a little bit different. Here's the picture. And as you can see, there are some red balls and some yellow balls and none of the other colors like we would have in American pool. I believe this is played just like regular pool. The balls are just slightly smaller, and the object of the game would be to hit all the red balls or all the yellow balls into the pockets and then hit your 8-ball in. There's also le bar américain, and what this is a bar in a kitchen. So this is a new concept in French houses that usually have separated rooms. The open concept kitchen is something that's fairly recent in American architecture, and this bar that goes along our kitchen is also fairly recent. And maybe being popularized in France, I don't know, but they call it un bar américain. The last thing on my list is la sauce américaine, American sauce. And here's a picture of it with some lobster. It's a sauce that goes with lobster, specifically a lobster dish made in Brittany called l'homard à l'américaine. Now, I'm not sure why they call this Américain at all. It may be because they're confusing it with Américain, which is a sort of thing that has to do with Brittany. But at any rate, it is called la sauce américaine, even though it has nothing to do with America. So reach out to your pen pals, see if there might be some other things like this, some things that are called American that may or may not be American. And in the meantime, have a great week. Au revoir et à bientôt.